Have you ever wondered what a secession by blue states would look like? How it would happen? I mean, picture this. The West Coast and the Northeast ports, the tech businesses, the campuses, the farms, universities, etc. Basically, all the things that make America actually run. Now, imagine those states quietly saying, we're done being Washington's ATM and their punching bag. That's not a civil war with flag and muskets. It's a soft secession. It's not leaving America. It's forcing America to stop bleeding itself dry. So let me paint you this picture. Two brothers, one works hard and saves, invests and builds this huge surplus, and the father in the family keeps raiding that brother's accounts and handing the money over to his fuck-up sibling, the one who blows it all and complains constantly and blames everyone else. The father even threatens to block the responsible brother's access to the money. After a while, the responsible brother says, look, I'm done funding this. I'll keep my money. I'll save for my family. I'll invest in my kids. I'm going to stop throwing cash down a hole. That's a soft secession. It's not a divorce. It's a financial boundary. Now zoom out. That's California, New York, and Washington and the Northeast bloc, all in 2025, looking at Washington, D.C. Hi, I'm Essie with the Dark Left. I tackle political hypocrisy and failed conservative solutions and facts that usually get ignored. If you want blunt honesty with receipts and sarcasm and actual fixes, that's what we do here. A soft secession doesn't mean borders are redrawn or new flags. It means blue states using legal, fiscal, and political autonomy to say to the federal government, your mandates end here. So what does that actually look like in the daily life if you're living in a blue state? Your healthcare would be covered by state pools. So if DC bans something, it wouldn't touch you. And your kids' education? Well, federal gag orders get tossed into the shredder. Schools keep teaching science and history, not propaganda. And when it comes to energy, it's tied to regional clean grids and carbon markets that keep scaling up. And states are already cutting deals with Canada and Europe and Asia, and they don't call them treaties because they can't. But let's be real, they function the same way. So why now? Why do this now? You got to remember, Trump keeps threatening to punish blue states. He threatened to block Los Angeles wildfire aid unless California bowed to his water rules and pushed some voter ID bullshit. He moved to strip funds over transgender athletes. He ordered a sweeping pause on federal grants and loans under the excuse of killing woke programs. Courts even had to step in on that one. He's dismantling the Department of Education, trying to nationalize what kids can learn instead of letting states lead. So yeah, blue states are saying, if you're going to use federal money as a weapon, then we'll keep our billions and you can play with the nickels given to you by the red states. So where's the leverage? This is where the receipts come in. California is a $4.1 trillion economy. That was in 2024. They are the fourth largest in the world, bigger than Germany. The U.S. Climate Alliance covers 55% of the population and over 60% of the United States GDP. That's not just fringe, that's the engine. Let's do some tax data. New York paid $89 billion more in federal taxes than they got back. Why would they let Washington bully them? Why would they let them threaten to withhold money that they paid in while Washington gives New York's money to states that are welfare queens with failed policies like Kentucky and Mississippi and Louisiana? So when Trump says, I'll cut your funding, what he's really saying is, I'll block your own money from coming back to you. Let's talk about things that are in these blue states like foods and farms and ports, because you can't forget the farming that happens in California. They're not just Silicon Valley. They are an agricultural powerhouse. 8.6 billion in dairy, 5.7 billion in almonds, plus grapes and cattle and lettuce and wine. Nearly half of all America's vegetables and over 3/4 of its fruit and nuts come out of California. Now let's look at the coasts. Those cars and iPhones and FedEx boxes, they don't teleport themselves in. The Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach move about 40% of all U.S. container imports. You add in the Port of Seattle and you've got the top 4 gateways of America trade all in blue states. That's not just survival, that's complete domination. So what could DC do if there was a soft secession? Well, they could sue, which they love to do. They could withhold grants, call the states traitors, maybe even deploy the National Guard. Again. But here's the reality. You can't occupy the entire West Coast and the Northeast seaboard. That's about 100 million people and the majority of the U.S. economy. You don't invade that. You negotiate with it. A soft secession isn't forever. If DC stops punishing the very states that fund the country and the systems would just fold back into the union, then the problem is solved. It's a separation, not a divorce. But if Washington keeps playing patriarch to the fuck-up states, the responsible ones are going to keep their money and build their future. And so here's the point. Blue states aren't seceding from America. They're seceding from sabotage, from a federal government run by extremists that punishes success in anything that seems to be modern or forward-thinking. A soft secession is a wake-up call. Either treat the states that feed and fund the nation like partners, or watch them build a future without waiting for your permission. That's not un-American. That's survival. And honestly, it's overdue.